name is Jane Darwell, and this was her last movie role. She was living in a retirement home for actors, and Disney wanted her to play the Bird Woman, and she initially refused. But in the end, he said, "No, come on, it's not going to be. You're just going to be on set for the day." And he had a limo to come and pick her up. He says he wanted her to feel like a movie star again.
Oh,
So we got a limo to pick her up and to take her back to her retirement home. And yeah, and she was only on set for a few hours. So yeah, I thought that was quite nice of him to do that. So I mean, I looked at our film history, and she hadn't done anything for Disney before, but yeah, like she had a big history
oh.
as an actress, and so she was probably one of like the originals, in movie.
Yeah, yeah. Walt probably
So
admired her from the early
yeah,
days.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, um, Travers. We're getting back to Travers.
Hmm.
She didn't want the chalk drawing scene. I mean, we know that she didn't want animation in it. That's made clear in the film,
Yeah.
the Saving Mr. Banks film. But yeah, when she saw the artwork or sketches of the chalk drawing scene, she, made a big fuss. But Disney on this did put his foot down and did say to her, no, I'm not, this is happening. So yeah. And I mean, it's only like I don't know why I thought there was more animation in this film, but that is the only scene. The
I
animation
think
is.
I think it went on a bit too long, if I'm honest.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think if I was editing that film, I think there'd be a lot of that animation that would be cut out.
I think it's one of the best scenes.
Oh, no, I think it goes on much too long.
Oh, well. Um, yeah, we'll get to our opinions in the end. Then. I can't wait to tell you my score. Bert is several characters combined
Hmm.
from the book. And at the start when is his music man
Yeah.
outfit, all those characters that he says the poems about, they're all characters from our books.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, including the little woman with the tall daughters.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I thought that was nice because
Yeah.
I never knew that.
No.
Um, so yeah. Um, Mrs. Banks.
Hmm.
So in the book, she's the first person that Mary Poppins has contact with in regards to the first member of the family.
Okay.
But in the film, they never speak,
Oh.
or yeah, they speak to each other in the film version.
Mm.
And the reason that she's a suffragette in the film, because she's not a suffragette, I don't know what she is
No.
in the book actually, but in the film, she's a suffragette because they needed to give her something that would have been even though it's still not a good enough reason, but in their minds, it was like she has to be doing something
Mm.
to, you know, be the reason why she's a neglectful mother.
Yeah.
So the movie is set. I did write it down. I think it's 1910
Yeah. 1910, turn of the century with
because it's
um
April. I think
yes.
it's April 1910 that it's set. So this would have been the beginning of that suffragette movement. We know that obviously in 1918 is when they get their first legal right to vote, but it was only married women.
Yeah.
And they had to be white. And they had to be a certain age. Yeah. There was stipulations, but yeah, I think it was 1918. So this is very early in the suffragette movement. So yeah, for them to think of that, yes, is quite good. And especially when in the 60s, the women's movement was huge.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Walt was a believer in men and women being equal. But the fact that they put this suffragette into the film at a time when the women's movement was rising again, I thought was quite good. But yeah, still not a good enough reason to be a neglectful mother.
No, I mean, I think some of it is due down to the Glynis Johns, because Walt was kind of Walt wanted her to be in the film, loved her voice, loved the way she looked, just wanted her to be in the film. So to build that character up more and to have her as a suffragette, and it almost, I think, an actress around that time, I mean, I'm a white male, so I don't know, but might have gone, do you know what? Actually, yeah, that is a role that I am interested in playing. So I'll forgive you for not giving me the role of Mary Poppins. But I will take the suffragette neglectful mother instead.
Yeah. But she does play the character so well.
Yeah.
And she did make it her own. And her voice as well, I find is so distinctive.
Yeah.
If she was to do a voice for a character, like I would recognize her voice instantly, because there's like a raspiness to it. Which is probably why, as well, she wouldn't have suited the role of Mary Poppins.
Yeah, because I don't think you could have Mary Poppins as a smoker.
No.
And whether or not Glynis was a smoker or not, I don't know, but her voice,
definitely has that. Yeah. Which gets me to another interesting fact, which I think you will love. So obviously when they're applying for a new nanny, before Poppins flies down, you see the line of nannies outside the house. Some of them were men.
Yes.
I thought this was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, we know that in England, or well, anywhere, obviously, the LGBTQ and all of that, like that was like a big no. The women's movement at this time is, already a thorn in all the men's backsides. But yeah, I just think it's so funny that they were quite willing to, let's get some men in drag and do this scene, and because can't get enough women on set. And
well, it's so they look awful, isn't it? So it's like, oh, we've both gone quiet.
No, I thought you were speaking.
Oh, so did I.
I thought you were saying something.
Oh. No. So basically, it's they're men, so they look awful compared to the shapely, petite, lovely Mary Poppins.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. It does kind of help them look scary.
Yeah.
And uninviting as an aunt. Yeah, which probably was the reason behind doing it, as well as the fact that he just probably couldn't get enough women on set to pretend. Or women of a certain age, maybe.
Or with a certain look.
Yes, and it was obviously would have just been easier to dress men up. But I did try and look. Like I was like pausing, trying to see, but you can't. I think it's
No,
like when you see the backs of
Yeah.
them, but all the ones at the front, I think, are women.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I thought that was a brilliant fact. The cherry blossoms. So the cherry trees on Cherry Tree Lane
Yes.
were made of plastic imported from France and Portugal, and each leaf and bloom was hand glued, so it was hand mounted. So yeah, it was. I think it was very expensive as well, because I think this is his most expensive project, like film. And at the time, which I think I wrote down as well, yeah, it was the most expensive movie produced by Disney.
Yeah.
But it was also the most profitable at the time because it made so much money back.
And it still continues.
Oh, God, yeah.
With merchandise, especially with merchandise, it still continues.
There was over 100 glass and matte paintings that to recreate the London skyline.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I did forget to fact check this. So if I've gotten it slightly wrong, I don't think I have. The guy that did those paintings, his son would then go on to do the paintings for Star Wars.
Okay.
Because they did the same. There were scenes where they would have it painted, but then the door would be blacked out or a window would be blacked out, wherever they were going to be, the action would be.
Yeah.
He would paint around it. So the background looked, it was painted, but then the film was laid on top of it. Which they do.
That happens a lot in UK production at the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, and obviously Star Wars was filmed in the UK, it was filmed at Pinewood. So, but yeah, the painter, I'm sure was American. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I will put that fact on Threads.
Yes.
But yeah, because it's in a documentary about Light and Magic, the Lucas film.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. And if I remember rightly, it wasn't something that he wanted to get into. But because of his dad and seeing his dad doing it, he did do it, but it wasn't what he wanted to be. And in the end, he ended up doing that. Yeah.
Well, he was good at it, so.
Oh, yeah, clearly. And luckily it was passed down, from his father. So, but yeah, I will double check that. And if I'm right, I'll put it on Threads.
Yeah.
If I've got it wrong, then I do apologize. So, yeah. Jane. So Jane obviously is still alive as well.
Yes.
And the actress, her name is Karen Dotrice.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I say that right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she's still alive and kicking.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's just a little bit older than my mum. And yeah, she obviously has loads of stories to tell from filming. And I found it so funny that her and the boy, they did the 4 films together.
Yeah, they were linked up in many.
Yeah, a bit like the girl and Bobby Driscoll.
Yeah,
from
Catherine.
Song of the South.
Yes, what was her
Yeah,
name?
I know.
Oh,
Was it Amy
it's
something?
it's too early for this. It's
Yeah,
too
no.
early to be thinking.
Yeah, but yeah, the little girl that plays alongside Bobby Driscoll in Song of the South, they did obviously several films
Yeah.
together as well. So yeah, a bit like that. But yeah, and she said that Julie Andrews, was a heavy smoker
Oh wow.
and swore frequently,
Fair enough.
which I love.
Yeah, I'm starting to really like Julie Andrews. I wonder
Yeah,
if there's
so
any
am I.
documentaries and stuff on her. I'm sure there is somewhere.
Yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, no, really liking her character.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention as well, when we were talking about Julie Andrews earlier, her husband, you mentioned her husband, Tony Walton, did you say?
Yes, that was her first
Yeah,
husband. Yeah.
her first husband. He was hired as well, and he did the costumes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And he actually fitted, Julie Andrews with all her outfits. So yeah, which I think is that's quite nice.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a well-known, but she sort of says, "Oh, by the way, have you got a costume designer yet? Because that's what my husband does." And Walt was like, "No, yeah, bring him on." You know,
Yeah.
so the whole family, because obviously,
Well, yeah, the
you know,
baby as well.
Baby was on set.
Little
Uh,
Emma.
yeah. Um, Getting back to the children, though, unfortunately, the boy that plays Michael, Matthew Garber, he died at 21 from hepatitis.
Yeah.
He'd been away. I can't remember the country that he'd been to.
No, yeah, he'd been away and then caught.
Because I think he'd gone to uni or something. And yeah, he'd gone away somewhere and came back and was seriously ill. And yeah, it was hepatitis. But it took him a little, like it was a few months of suffering, unfortunately, I think.
Which is such a shame when you think about what happened to the likes of Bobby Driscoll.
Yeah, well,
Who-
obviously that was self,
Yeah, and
himself.
when you see
Whereas,
what happens to child stars and the fact that he'd gone to uni and he was
mm,
studying and he'd yeah, it is a shame.
yeah. And I think if I remember, I've seen the actress that plays Jane from, I think it was like on the DVD. You know, when Mary Poppins came on DVD, there's a big documentary on there, like a special.
Okay.
And I remember when watching that, and she got, really teary when she spoke about
she just get
because
emotional. I've seen clips.
yeah, because obviously it would have been like losing her brother,
Yeah.
Because they were, they did so many films together.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't related, but yeah. I've got my phone, so I've got a thing about Herb Urwix. You know him that drew Mickey?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a thing to do with him. But while I'm finding that, this is the last feature that Ward Kimball worked on as an animator. And what's the other one? Sorry, I'm just checking. Oh, no, I'll say that at the end, actually, because that's a good one. Right, yeah, Travers. So she did an interview in the 70s, I think it was 1977, and she was asked about the film. And she is quoted to saying, "I've seen it once or twice, and I've learned to live with it. It's glamorous, and it's a good film in its own level, but I don't think it's very like my books." So that was the last known thing that she'd said about the film. Because I think after that, she never really did
No.
any more interviews, and then she would go on to write um a couple of other books. I think the last book was written in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, the eighth book. There was 8 books altogether.
So
Um,
anyone who wants to find out more about, there's a book. It's one of the Vault of Walt books, and it's by Jim Corcus, and he goes into a lot of detail about interviews that were given with certain people and PL Travers as well. Um, and he looks at like, and he discusses those and what her opinion and everything like that was. And so yeah, if anyone's read that book, they'll get the um, they'll understand that she had nothing good to say, and then it started going where she just wouldn't talk about it. She wouldn't say anything about it because, I
no.
mean, personally, I think that she realized that it was a success and maybe she was wrong.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I mean, she's not the first that obviously has not liked what has been done to her work.
No.
And I mean, the first thing that comes to mind that's quite current is obviously the Game of Thrones. Now,
Mm.
slightly different because he hasn't finished the books and the program actually does go ahead.
Yeah.
But as someone who watched all of that, he has again been interviewed since that program's finished, and he's now come admitted that he wasn't happy, like the
Mm.
fans, with how they ended that. But he's not finished the book, so he does still have the opportunity
Yeah.
to give that ending that the fans want. Whether he will still provide that and fans will still be disappointed, who knows? So I've not read the books,
No, no,
but
I've
that's the most current one that I can think of where the author and then the creator have not gone down the same
mm.
path. Although it's slightly different because, like I say, the books weren't
Yeah,
finished.
yeah, it's not.
But yeah, and in regards to say like Harry Potter, I mean, I've read the books and I've watched all the films. Now, it irks me terribly with a couple of the films that they are nothing like the books and that the books are so much better and it really spoils it for me. However, overall, I can't take away the fact that, as a whole series, they have really done those books justice and to bring it to life the way they did, because it's so hard when you're writing a book. I mean, I don't know, you're the writer. I mean, you envision when you're writing, and you must know that as a writer, when you put that to paper and it gets published, it's out there. When somebody then goes and reads it, they're not going to envision it the same way you've written it
No,
because
I mean,
everyone interprets it differently. And for
so,
Walt to instantly think, oh well, I've got to have penguins
yeah.
and I've got to have, this jolly holiday scene or whatever else he envisioned when he read the books. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
one of the thing in my uh, book that came out, the main character, the way I dressed her in the when I'd written it down was more like Baby Spice because it's set in the 90s, whereas the editor had got mixed up with the Spice Girls and said, well, no, Baby Spice wears the Union Jack dress, so we're going to change all of that. And he did it all. And looking at it, it works a lot better. But that was never my original um, image. So when I was
yeah,
writing it, that's not the image. But now looking at it, it should only have been that.
mm,
So
yeah,
I can get why she would have been a bit uptight,
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think it would have shown more of her character if she could have just admitted that the film was good and
Yeah,
the
and they
decisions
save a lot of
made.
money from it.
Yeah. And the decisions made actually made that film better. And a book and a TV series or a movie, they are different mediums. They're always going to be that little bit different. And what
Of
works in a
course.
book doesn't work in a TV series or
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
So she needed to understand that a little bit more. And
Yeah.
I think that was the barrier because
Yeah.
they obviously understood different mediums, whereas
Mm-hmm.
she just understood the one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. I found that fact
Yes.
about Urwick. So he modified the Technicolor camera that was used to mix the live action and animation,
Okay.
also known as the sodium vapor process.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that was thing.
yeah. Yeah. This camera has a prism installed to separate the sodium vapor lights from the rest of the color. Urwick's Petro Vlahos and Wadsworth E. Pole received an Academy Award for its use in this movie, and Sir Alfred Hitchcock went to Walt Disney asking to borrow Urwick's to help make the birds.
Oh wow.
And in 1964, Urwick's was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Effects for the birds,
Yeah.
but lost to Cleopatra.
Oh.
So him that drew Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
goes on to make this special camera.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked about how in is it Melody Time? No, Saludos Amigos.
Yes, yeah, they struggled.
Oh, like the animation with the live action, it's not great in that film. But luckily it gets better by the time they do Three Caballeros. And then we're at Mary Poppins. And yeah, I mean, hey, when I was a kid, I believe that, that was all a real place, that Jolly holiday scene, like that was real. And even watching it as an adult, it's so cleverly done. I mean, when Bert's doing that dance with the penguins, and then when they're on the horse, they're doing the horse racing, and like they're on the carousel horses, and yet they've got the animated horses running alongside. It's so well made.
It is well done, and especially when you look at the time,
Yeah, and obviously that was down to him perfecting this camera. So yeah, I had one other on my phone, and it was to do with the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Well, you can say it backwards,
which is
hard.
Yeah. So the word was not wholly created for this movie.
Oh.
A close variation was first used in a 1949 song called Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yeah, very close. And that was by Gloria Parker and Barney Young. They sued Disney for plagiarism, but lost after Disney lawyers showed that a similar word had been used by Helen Herman in the Syracuse Daily Orange, a college newspaper. Herman wrote, "Several years ago, I concocted an expression which to me includes all words in the category of something wonderful. I believe that I am the sole originator of it, or at least I have my own interpretation of its pronunciation, which is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious with a sh. So it ends in shus. Implies all that is grand, great, glorious, splendid, superb, wonderful. Well, all that is just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So, yeah. So the Sherman brothers I have no idea. I couldn't find anything to say how they knew this word. But the fact is that no, they did not come up with it.
Didn't know that
And
one.
so yeah. Not taking anything away from the Sherman Brothers, because obviously, you know,
It's the tune. The tune
it's
is
they've still made it their own in a way. And but yeah. Is the word in the dictionary now?
it is.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
think that I did read that somewhere. And then I'm going to finish the facts because, oh my God, there's been loads. And I do apologize. But this is the final one. And I think it's a nice one to end with. So the kite.
Mm-hmm.
The kite is the symbol of the film. Because it symbolizes the bank. So originally it's broken in
Mm-hmm.
it's broken at the start of the film, which the family is obviously broken. And the four pieces that are taped back together represent the four of them coming together. And then the final touch of her suffragette ribbon added is a symbolizes her commitment to being a better mum. Whether that's in the book, I don't know. I don't even know if the kite's in the book. Because in the film Saving Mr. Banks, she's seen to enjoy that song, Let's Go Fly a Kite, and they're seen dancing around. So hopefully that is accurate, but I'm not sure, because as we know, movies tend to dramatize things.
Yeah.
And even Disney themselves like to, do that with their own stories. So yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, there's probably more facts that we might come across, and if we do, we'll obviously add them to threads. But oh, sorry, that was a door. But yeah, there was loads.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah. So, Onya, you want to go on about the releases?
Yes.
Yes.
So the VHS was released in 1983 in the UK.
Okay.
It was also re-released in 94, 97, and 1999.
Oh, wow. I mean, I definitely had it on video.
I never did. See.
Oh, yeah. No, that was definitely a video that I had on a lot.
It holds the title of Disney's first DVD release. So this was the first film to go out on DVD. It was in 1998. It was released on Blu-ray in 2013 and was one of the original films on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As with most of them. But yes.
I know. I think they were all on there pretty much, but yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you first see it then? If you didn't have it on video?
So it was always on the TV around Easter and Christmas time.
Right, okay.
So
that would have been...
Yeah, I always... So for me, this Bedknobs and Broomsticks and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang were always on.
Yeah.
I had Bedknobs and Broomsticks on video, so
so did I.
But that's how I link them, really. But I first watched it in full when I was at the Disney store and that DVD came out.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we would have had it in the room. Yeah.
So I got that then, watched it, and then I watched it in full probably twice, and then the third time for this podcast.
Okay. But if you'd had Bedknobs on video and watched that more, then that's probably why, I mean, I do prefer Bedknobs as well.
Yeah.
As in, I prefer the story. I am a huge Angela Lansbury fan,
Yeah.
and and I like Tomlinson's role in Bedknobs as well. The kids annoy me. Don't get me wrong. Like at least the kids in Mary Poppins, they don't annoy me. But see the ones in Bedknobs, like I just want to punch them.
Oh,
Like
okay.
especially the older boy. Oh, and
Yeah.
he's so like they're just so rude to her, and it's just So they're my only issue with that film. Otherwise, I love it.
Yeah, no, I do.
But
And
yeah.
I've never actually seen Pete's Dragon all the way through. Yes, I can't do it. I
I
physically
feel like
can't
that
do it.
needs to be another bonus episode.
Oh, it will be a 4-minute bonus episode. It will be sat there going, I didn't like it. Done.
I think that's just as long as this one as well. That film
Oh,
was a long film.
yeah. I don't think films should be that long, to be honest.
Personally, I didn't feel it was as long as it was. But like I said earlier, I think it's because of all the music. It helps definitely go quicker. For me, anyway.
Yeah, not for me. Sorry. If anyone saw the picture that I put on Threads, um, you would have noticed my issue.
Well, I mentioned earlier that Bert is my favorite character in this. And but I did write down that for me, the star of the film is the music.
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. Like, I mean, Luke, my partner, went to go and watch the musical. And I have no interest in Mary Poppins, but he went with a friend and he even played the music there and he said it was really good and he's played
Mm-hmm.
it since. And as I say, songs are on my playlist and
Mm-hmm.
there's just a bit, and I don't know what instrument it is. I believe it's a violin, but I could be wrong. When it's about to lead into Chim Chimney Chi, Chim Chimney, just
Yeah,
that
all
music,
control.
it just it sets the scene perfectly. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. On that note, what was your score?
I gave it a 4.
Ah, Jamie, no.
Yeah, I had to. I just didn't really. I mean, it was watchable. There was parts where it was a bit like for me, and I remember enjoying it more as a kid. But see the I love to laugh scene, like you said
Yeah.
earlier, like they could have been shorter. I would have cut that out.
Oh no,
Um,
that's the end. That's how the old banker dies.
I know. So it does all
Link.
tie in, and I
Yeah.
think that's what that's why yeah. But I honestly couldn't find too much fault. It was just, personally, obviously, I can't really relate
Hmm.
to any of the characters. But I do enjoy, the music, the whole like I said, the Jolly Holiday scene for me, from start to finish is perfect. So I I struggled to find a lot of fault really. It's just a case of, enjoying the story really. But the music is brilliant. The characters, the whole family dynamic thing as well. Like that could be quite current now,
Mm.
because instead of Mrs. Banks being a suffragette, mum and dad both have to work.
Yeah, mum could be an
So
influencer. Like,
yeah, one might be
dad
an
could be working
influencer.
5 jobs.
But yeah, so I guess in that sense, that's still sort of there. I'm not saying that people neglect their children now
No,
that they
no.
have to both work, but that's a bit extreme. But yeah, the want of attention from parents is definitely, something that's always been there.
Yeah.
So yeah. So why did you not enjoy this film?
I don't know. I think it's just the length. And I think
Okay.
because I didn't watch it that much as a child or all the way through or anything, I think it just didn't connect with me. So my score is a 3
Okay.
because I don't think that there is nothing say wrong with the film. I do think the
Mhm.
length is an issue though. I do think.
Yeah.
Um and there is a lot of positives and it's a lot of an imagination and it's done really, really well.
Hmm.
And there's no part of that film that is bad.
Hmm.
It just doesn't speak to me personally. So to score it any lower than a 3, I thought was unfair. But to
Yeah.
score it any more than a 3, I think was probably
Okay.
unfair.
Hmm.
um, so yes, that's why. And yeah, I just can't connect to it. And I think that's because I didn't see it as a child.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably my nostalgia
Mm,
has a lot to do with giving it a 4 as well, because it was on as an adult, obviously I definitely prefer Bedknobs more.
yeah,
I find that story is more fun
yeah,
and adventurous, um, but and more magical
yeah,
as well. Um, but yeah, no, I like this. This is like one of my mum's favorites, and I did watch it with her, and we made a sort of afternoon of it where we put all three on. So we put this on, and then Mary Poppins Returns, and then we put on Saving Mr. Banks. So
okay.
I was all popping out.
You were. I don't think I could do that. I couldn't watch the sequel again.
Oh well, hey, you are gonna hate this then, because I prefer the sequel, and um, which my mum, was annoyingly pointing out, but I did see it for myself. But yeah, she was saying that the two films run like they're mirrored.
Hmm.
So
It's the same
um
film, just different people.
yeah, so obviously instead of Bert, we've got, is it Jack?
Oh, I don't know,
Yeah,
Lin-Manuel.
played by Lin Manuel. And again, like, his accent didn't bug me, but I know that bugged a lot of people. It is attempt
I
at
tell you what bugged me about that whole film is it ends after about an hour.
yeah,
And
you
they
said this when I messaged you and says I'm watching the sequel, but no, it ended when it needed to end.
No, it ends and then they do something else, and then that's the perfect end. And then they just have a wander off to go fly a kite. Okay. Then they have to sing the song. Then you've got Angela Lansbury just wielding, literally
Oh, the balloon
wielding.
lady. I love that scene when she's
No,
giving them all the
it
balloons.
shouldn't have been her. It should have been Julie Andrews.
Yeah, well, apparently Julie Andrews didn't want anything to do with the sequel.
Good. I like her. I like Julie
But
Andrews.
she did think that Emily Blunt was perfect as Mary Poppins.
I don't
And
have
I think I'd like to think that the reason she didn't want to be in it is because she didn't want to take away what Emily had done with the character. But yeah, I mean, I did find it odd that, because obviously Jane makes an appearance, the real life actress.
Yeah, and
Um,
doesn't Thingy make an appearance as well? Dick Van Dyke.
yes, well, he plays Toss Jr.
Yes, with no
And yeah,
makeup.
and that he did all of that dancing
Yeah.
as
I,
well, that whole scene. So yeah, no, I loved it. And like I say, I actually preferred it to the only slightly, but yeah, I did prefer it. Like I will put that on again, and
Not when I'm round, you won't.
I loved Meryl Streep as Topsy Turvy, that character. Because obviously that scene is supposed to be instead of the love to laugh scene. And I loved her and that song, and yeah.
Sorry, you're not going to convince me on that one. I've watched Mary Poppins. I gave it a 3. I don't.
Well, I'm going to put it to the listeners. Which one do you prefer, the first or the sequel? And I think that should be. We should have a poll running on that.
I will do. That's the
because my sister was shocked that I preferred the sequel.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Yeah,
the sequel is a poor imitation of an okay film.
No, I liked it. I liked the songs. I liked the characters. I liked the whole idea of them losing the house and them trying to find a way to save the house.
No.
And I liked that Jane wasn't like she'd done what her mum, didn't do, which was she became an activist, but chose that first, and she's not got a family and neglecting a family for her activism. She's chosen to do that, ahead of starting a family, which, I thought was quite good because she clearly was inspired by her mum's activism, but at the same time, she didn't make the same mistake by being married and having a family and trying to do it. Yeah. She focuses on activism instead, which was.
I still don't think that film should have been made, personally.
Well, I mean, okay, yes.
That was a cash-in.
Yeah, I will sort of say, did it need a sequel? No. Like, did I ever feel when I watched Mary Poppins that I wanted another movie? No.
No.
And probably because of how long the film was.
Yeah.
As it didn't need a sequel. But as we know, Disney tends to do this, where they do make unnecessary sequels and third films and fourth films and even fifth films.
The Fox and the Hound 2 comes to mind.
I've never seen. I can't wait to watch that. But yeah. Obviously this podcast I think's been as long as the film now. Yeah. But no, I think to honor the man Walt Disney, this is, I think, a good last sort of film for that, because it's got a bit of everything that he loved.
Yeah.
And the fact that he had been trying to make this film for so long, and because of that witch not giving up the rights, and being so awkward, it took so long. But at the same time, would have it been the same film if he'd gotten to make it 20 years earlier? No,
it wouldn't. You wouldn't have
been magical. And he wouldn't have had Julie Andrews.
No.
He wouldn't have had the Sherman Brothers writing the music. So it was meant to be the way that it happened.
Probably would have had Julie Garland.
I think she would have been too young.
20 years earlier, 1940s. She's been.
Yeah, I mean, Wizard of Oz was 1938, which I'm sure she was like 22. So maybe not. Yeah, no. Don't know. Who knows? We'll never know, because obviously that didn't happen. So yeah, but no, I'm glad we did this as a bonus, because unfortunately we're going to come to the classics that were affected by his death.
Yeah.
In a big way. So yeah, no, this is a good one to do. Although I didn't mean for you to suffer by watching the film.
Yeah, I don't know how you sat there and watched Mary Poppins Returns, and then Saving Mr. Banks. Saving
Prosecco.
Say again.
Prosecco is what
Prosecco.
helps. I
Yeah,
think
no.
I
Saving Mr.
definitely
Banks.
had a whole bottle to myself that afternoon.
Saving Mr. Banks is a good film you can watch once. I do recommend that people watch it, but just the once.
Oh, see, I watch that all the time. I put that on more than Mary Poppins now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've watched it more than Mary Poppins.
And I mean, I don't think they could have gotten anybody else to play those two characters. I mean, and as well, I know we're going to finish it, but how weird is it that I don't know if it was just before he made filmed that film, or if it was during the making of the film, but Tom Hanks is related to Walt Disney.
Oh, is he? Oh.
Yes! And it's not the first role as well that he's found out that he's related. I think when he did Lincoln, he's found out that Lincoln is in his family tree. Like, that's in his family history as well. But the fact that he is related to Walt Disney, and I mean, he looked like him as well.
Yeah, he did.
Like, the makeup people really did such a good job because, the only thing is, he wasn't as wrinkly as Walt was, but we know that Walt was ill.
Yeah.
So that's why he looked really old for his age at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Oh, and then Emma Thompson to play Travers.
Yeah.
I mean,
I am not sure about her as an actress. It's not that I dislike her. It's not that I think she's overutilized, and I sometimes do not think she's utilized in the right way. But in this film, I will admit that she does play that character really, really well. And yeah, I don't know if I'd pick anyone else. Maybe
no, I
Kate
could
Blanchett, she's everyone else.
especially like at the end when you're hearing the real tapes playing in the credits, and like she got how she spoke really well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't deny that she's not a good actress and that she nailed this part. I just mean another part.
Yeah.
She's overutilized, and unfortunately it's making her seem a little bit samey. So
you didn't like her as Mrs. Potts, did you?
no, I did not. No, I did not. So
well, on that note, jinx.
I can't talk then.
No, it's okay. We'll better wrap this up. It's been long enough, hasn't it?
Yeah. So we are back with Block 2, Series 2, as whatever you want to call it. Begins with The Jungle Book.
Yeah.
That will be next week. And we're going to run through what is known as the Disney Dark Ages, which I don't agree with.
Okay.
I do not think that this is the Dark Ages. I think the Dark Ages start in the early 2000s.
I think it's called that because of the company as a whole. I don't think it's necessarily the films themselves. I think it's the company as a whole.
And I think the same about the 2000s. It's the company as a whole.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that begins next week.
Yes.
So until then, I suppose...
Yes, we'll say goodbye to Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
I have to get it in one more time.
Just one more. Yes. And to those out there, follow us on Threads, Instagram, and you can drop us an email.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you. And if you're also rewatching all the classics as well, and if you've agreed with our scores, and just get in touch.
Yeah,
we love hearing from everyone. Oh, that's my cue. I've got to go back to your mum now.
Oh, okay. Stop being a suffragette.
Oh, I'm neglecting them.
See you soon.
Right. Au revoir.
Bye.